my family just like you. And we are also accustomed to the running and gun.
It was a Sunday morning, like any other at Fellowship Church. The sunlight streaming through stained glass and the congregation filling the pews with familiar energy and anticipation. Pastor Charles Jenkins had stepped to the pulpit, ready to deliver his message with the passion and energy that had inspired so many over the years. But as he began to preach, something subtle yet alarming began to unfold. His voice, normally confident and steady, wavered slightly, and his hands gripped the pulpit more tightly than usual. At first, many in the congregation assumed it was part of the emotion and fervor he poured into his sermons. But then, in an instant, everything changed. The moment that stunned everyone. Within seconds, Pastor Jenkins faltered, his strength giving way, and he collapsed forward. Chaos erupted immediately. Some people screamed, some cried, while others ran to the stage to help. Trained members of the congregation rushed forward, checking for a pulse and offering support, while ushers tried to maintain calm amid the sudden panic. Those seated closest described the moment as surreal, as if time itself had stopped, the energy of the room shifting from worshipful joy to stunned silence in the blink of an eye. In those first terrifying moments, members of the congregation dropped to their knees, praying fervently, calling on God to sustain their beloved pastor. It was a Sunday unlike any other, a day when faith, fear, and hope collided in a single, unforgettable moment. Immediate response. Within minutes, paramedics arrived, navigating through the crowd to stabilize Pastor Jenkins and transport him safely to the hospital. The once vibrant sanctuary, filled with music and song, was now hushed, punctuated only by sobs and whispered prayers. Choir members stood in silence, some clutching tissues, others holding one another, struggling to comprehend what had just happened. Outside, the streets were illuminated by the flashing lights of emergency vehicles, while church members gathered in prayer circles, holding hands and quietly asking for his recovery. The swift transition from celebration to crisis left everyone grappling with disbelief and uncertainty. The hospital and the first updates. At the hospital, doctors worked tirelessly to monitor and stabilize Pastor Jenkins. Early updates confirmed that he was alive and under close observation, but the details were limited, leaving family, church leaders, and the congregation in anxious suspense. His wife, heartbroken but composed, stayed by his side, quietly asking for privacy while encouraging the faithful to continue praying. Church leaders took turns visiting, offering support and trying to manage the rising anxiety within the congregation. Meanwhile, social media became a hub for both concern and encouragement, as hashtags supporting his recovery began trending and thousands shared messages of love and prayers for the pastor. Community concern and reflection. As news spread, the focus gradually expanded beyond the immediate health scare. People began reflecting on the demands placed on pastors, especially those leading large congregations. Pastor Jenkins was known for his tireless work ethic, preaching, traveling, attending meetings, mentoring others, and supporting community programs. Insiders quietly mentioned that he had been pushing himself relentlessly in the weeks leading up to the collapse, often brushing aside exhaustion to keep serving. This incident shone a light on a reality that many congregations often overlook. Even the strongest leaders have limits, and relentless commitment without rest can have consequences. Signs of hope. Despite the uncertainty, small signs of progress at the hospital provided glimmers of hope. Family and close friends noted moments of awareness and movement, indications that Pastor Jenkins was responding, even in his fragile state. Doctors emphasized that the next 24 hours would be critical, but those signs encouraged the congregation and the broader gospel community to continue their prayers and support. Every small improvement was celebrated as a victory, reinforcing the profound bond between the pastor and those whose lives he had touched over the years. Nationwide support. The story quickly spread beyond the local community. Fellow pastors, gospel artists, and faith leaders shared messages of encouragement and solidarity. Messages from respected figures in the gospel world highlighted both admiration for Pastor Jenkins and the collective hope for his recovery. In his home city, members of the congregation gathered overnight with candles, singing softly and praying, uniting in faith and determination. The emotional response demonstrated how deeply a pastor's life and leadership can resonate, extending far beyond a single church to touch the hearts of people across the nation. Conversations about leadership and health. As the narrative unfolded, discussions emerged about the pressures faced by pastors. Social media and online forums became spaces for both encouragement and thoughtful reflection. Some questioned why more information had not been shared about his condition, while others discussed the hidden burdens of spiritual leadership: long hours, travel, counseling responsibilities, and the constant expectation to remain strong for others. Observers began considering not just the immediate crisis, but the broader implications for pastoral care and the sustainability of ministry leadership. The conversation shifted to a critical truth: the health and well-being of those who lead often demand greater attention and support. Leadership and ministry. Challenges inside church leadership meetings. Elders and pastors discussed plans to navigate Pastor Jenkins' potential recovery period. Succession strategies, temporary replacements, and plans to support the congregation without his daily presence became necessary considerations. The discussions, though difficult, emphasized the importance of shared responsibility and collaboration within a faith community. Leaders recognized that the ministry could continue, but also that no single person should bear the weight of an entire congregation alone. It was a sobering reminder of human limits and the value of teamwork in sustaining spiritual guidance. A symbol of faith and resilience. Pastor Jenkins's collapse became more than a health story. It evolved into a symbol of faith, resilience, and the human reality behind spiritual leadership. His brief moments of awareness and his whispered messages of love to the congregation reinforced his enduring commitment, even in vulnerability. These moments became a source of inspiration, reminding the church and wider community that strength is not only measured in continuous service, but also in acknowledging the need for rest, care, and support. His journey underscored the delicate balance between devotion and personal well-being, offering a powerful lesson for leaders and followers alike. Continuing prayer and reflection. Outside the hospital, prayer chains and support initiatives continued, with the gospel community rallying around Pastor Jenkins. Messages, worship gatherings, and online prayers created a network of hope and solidarity. At the same time, thoughtful discussions emerged regarding expectations for pastors, wellness strategies, and shared leadership. Many realized that caring for spiritual leaders is not just about immediate concern for health, but about cultivating a sustainable environment in which they can serve without sacrificing themselves. The incident opened up conversations about compassion, empathy, and collective responsibility within faith communities. A lasting impact. In the days that followed, the story of Pastor Jenkins's collapse resonated across the gospel world. It was no longer just a personal or local incident. It became a conversation about faith, leadership, and balance in human life. The outpouring of love, prayers, and solidarity demonstrated the enduring power of connection, reminding everyone that no one is alone, even in moments of weakness. As he continued to recover under the care of doctors and loved ones, the congregation and community carried forward not only hope for his return, but also a renewed commitment to empathy, shared responsibility, and understanding the unseen burdens leaders often carry. The story of Pastor Charles Jenkins was now etched into the collective memory of his church and the wider community, a powerful testament to resilience, care, and the transformative power of faith united with humanity.